Here we are again, sewing another backpack. This backpack was made initially for my travel to Japan for day hikes, but later I thought, why not use this backpack also for fast packing, since I didn't need a bigger bag for my running adventures. You can see on my left side my inspiration. It is an ultralight Sea to Summit backpack that traveled Latin America with me. The dimensions are perfect, exactly what I need for day hikes, or as I said, for fast packing. The ultralight is a blessing and a curse, especially with the straps. They are just made out of thin material without any padding. The moment you load your water bottles in it, it becomes uncomfortable. On the right side you see my prototype, which I made back in 2020. I made a simpler, more rectangular shaped version to get an idea of the construction. I quite like how it came together, but now I want to make 3 more changes. First, I want to change the straps to the one from my Waco backpack, since they are just more comfortable and perfect. The second change will be an inside pocket. Usually the inside pockets are attached where the straps are, but I want mine to be attached at the front, so I will have an extra seam there. And the third change, I want to have some side pockets for water bottles or other things that I might need. I drafted a new pattern based on my previous one. On the right side you can see my original draft and on the left side my newer version. To give you an overview, and since drafting rectangles is not that interesting, I redrew my pieces digitally. Not all of my sides have measurements because I drafted some parts on the go, like my side panel and pocket. One thing I forgot to mention, I also changed the back panel to have the bottom area padded with 3D mesh. Here are basically all my cutout pieces for the backpack. As you can see, this is the back, the panel with a little bit of padding. Unfortunately, I didn't have any padding for the straps left because I only ordered, I think, 1/2 meter of that lighter mesh. And I didn't want to use the thicker mesh for the lower back, since it is a lightweight backpack anyways. So I will see if I just put the Evazode into the straps. Here is the side panel, straps, the pocket for the side panel and the front part. And here I have the pocket that will be in the inside of this seam basically. So I start sewing, I guess, with my pocket, since that fabric is horrible to sew with and I want to get the annoying part over and done, because the rest of the X-Pack material is quite pleasant to sew, and anyways it's only 2 layers, except this one. This will be 3, and also the straps where I attach the webbing, but other than that it should be quite a nice and hopefully pleasant sew. As I mentioned, I started by sewing the pocket, which is the lightweight silky ripstop. It is so silky that my double-sided tape never really sticks to it, and I used clips and sewed quite slowly. First I attached the zipper tabs to both sides of the zipper ending and top stitched it. Next up are both pocket pieces that go on the zipper. Here as well I top stitched the right side. Since this material is so lightweight, it also is a bit more on the fraying side. I decided to French seam the whole pocket. With the pocket finished, I first basted the pocket to a lower front panel before I joined the lower and the upper front panels together. I zigzagged the edges before I top stitched it. Last step on the front are the little loops for the elastic. I placed 2 loops on the bottom and 3 on each side of the front and basted them in place. The next step is the back side, which is made of 3 pieces. To prepare the lower back panel, I basted the 3D mesh to the X-Pack material. This panel is then attached to the main back panel and top stitched towards the main panel. Before I can sew the upper back panel to the rest, I had to make the shoulder straps. With only 2 layers of fabric, the shoulder straps are much easier to sew and turn around. I followed the instructions from the Waco backpack. You start by attaching your webbing to the lower part of the front strap. Next you sew the lower and upper pieces to form the front piece and top stitch the seam. Then you have to make sure your loose webbing pieces is out of the way and clip with the right sides facing the front and back piece together and sew it. Before you turn everything out, you should trim the seam allowance around the curved bottom area. Since it is only 2 layers of fabric, turning the right side out is not as fiddly as with an extra layer of mesh. But one thing that still is annoying and takes a good amount of time is putting the evasot in. Patience is key here. With the evasot in place, I choose to sew the loose webbing to the strap. With this in between areas, you have a nice option later to attach other pockets to it, and it also gives your backpack a professional look. At the end of the webbing you attach the ladder lock. I choose a metal one, which is a bit heavier than plastic, but I prefer a more sturdy version that will last me a longer time. With the shoulder straps finished, it was time to complete the back panel. For the strap placement, I choose the same dimensions as with my other backpacks, which are a bit more spaced out. I basted the straps first to the main panel before I sewed the upper back panel. Here as well, I top stitched the seam allowance for more stability. The next step was joining the front and back panel together and finish it off with top stitching it towards the front, since I didn't want to have a seam that might be bulky at my padded back panel piece. Before I could move through the side panels of the backpack, one last thing were the adjustment straps for the shoulder straps. For this I used my triangle method from the other backpacks. I found it the sturdiest so far. I simply enclosed the end of the webbing with triangles and top stitched the right sides. The triangles were then attached to the mesh panel of the back. I only basted them at this point since the side panels will be sewn in a moment. For the finish of my side pockets, I chose some elastic, which I applied to the edge of the mesh. Then I folded it over and sewed it with a white zigzag stitch. The pocket is a bit wider than the side panel to accommodate the bottle. I draped my pocket in place and made some pleats on a go. Before sewing it, I checked the fit with my bottle and it looked good. I basted the pocket to the side panel and copied my steps for the second pocket.
Sewing the side panels into the backpack is the most tricky part. You already have something like a backpack, and maneuvering the giant thing under the machine while sewing round corners takes a little bit more patience and stop and go. I began the process with clipping the side panels to the back panel and sewed it in place. Then I clipped the round corners to the front panel and started sewing this area. Unfortunately, I didn't realize while filming that my camera had troubles with the focus. Bear with me here. As I said, it is a lot of stop and go to realign your pattern pieces, but once you have the corners in place, you are back on the straight seam and it gets easier. The last seams to finish the backpack is the roll top closure. For this I turned the edge twice and sewed it. Then I applied one piece of webbing to the inside of the back panel piece. This gives you more structure for rolling down the top later. A second piece of webbing is attached to the outer front panel. This one has some overlapping areas on the left and right side for the buckle. And with this last detail, the backpack is finished. Here is the finished backpack, and I was running with that one recently to check if I can carry my stuff around, if it's bouncing too much. Not to do a fast packing adventure, but just like a regular run. I needed to check some stuff and it worked out quite fine, so it got me thinking if I can actually use this backpack for the fast packing adventures that I will hopefully do this year. So one is coming up in just a couple of days. And I noticed one thing is missing, of course. I need something to hold my water bottle. I mean, I do have these side pockets, but I'm not sure if that is convenient or even also annoying if it's coming to a bottle of water. So I thought I'd make a little pouch for my flask, so my flask can carry up to half a liter. and I prepared this little bag, which is also sewn the wrong way around, but that does not matter. It just was more the purpose for checking if this one might fit, and it is a little bit too shallow. I think I need to make it a little bit deeper, or better to say higher. And I prepared it with some loops basically, or bands that I can then thread my strap in. So I'm just using the straps that I already have from my backpack, and I can thread that actually through and also grab the other buckle. So let's get that through. So like this, and then I have just a strap to check how I can basically attach it to these I think bars it is called, or what it is, these little in-between areas from the strap. So I just tied a knot actually to see if that would work, and let's grab the buckle. It's actually working not as bad as I thought. I mean, I thought it would be much worse, but actually not. So that is how it would look, and you may notice here this one is gaping a little bit, and I thought I'd just order some smaller buckles and a smaller webbing to attach something over here. So usually you have with your running vest one of these, let me grab it, these straps in between to hold everything tighter to your chest. This of course is a sewn in addition that I did not want to have here, so I want to remove that water bottle holder thingy when I don't need it. So I didn't want to have anything that is attached to the straps, to the straps basically. And I thought I would just use some ribbon and pull it then basically a little bit closer to my chest area. The base shape for the water pouch is an isosceles trapezoid, based off the dimensions for the flask. For better stability, I choose some leftover X-Pack material for the back piece. The markings for the lower webbing were adapted from the prototype pouch. As always, I taped the webbing for the tunnel with double-sided tape first before I stitched it in place. Next were the markings for the closure strap, as well as the vertical tunnels for the supportive webbings. The length of the strap is based off the prototype, where I could comfortably tie it around the flask. I was not sure how to finish this little pouch nicely. I didn't want to have any open seams on the inside or bias-bound edges on the outside. Instead, I thought French seams might be a nicer way to keep everything nice and tidy. For this, I glued both pieces, the X-Pack and mesh, with the left sides facing together and sewed it on the right side. Then I turned everything to the left side, clipped the seam in place and sewed it again. After turning everything out, it was time to sew the Velcro on the closure webbing. With Velcro, it is a bit easier to adjust the fit on the bottle later. The top edge of the mesh was finished with elastic fold over to have a more snug fit on the bottle. With the elastic in place, I folded the top edge to the inside and sewed it in place. The only thing missing was the supportive webbing or straps. I simply attached the female end of the buckle to the webbing and secured it. The male end was threaded through the other side of the webbing. I made 2 straps with that method in case I need more than one securing point. Here we have the finished little pouch for the water bottle. As you can see, it's the mesh from the front. It is finished with French seams, and on the back I have some of the webbing used for basically making loops or something where I can thread more webbing through, and you can see one I already put through some of the loops. And yeah, I close everything up with some Velcro, and yeah, that should work fine. As I said, I will attach it back to my leftover webbing or the long pieces of the webbing that I have from the straps. Since, yeah, I didn't want to sew anything on the backpack, everything should be removable, so in case I will just use the backpack for hiking and day hikes, that I don't end up with this bottle holder and everything on it. That was my idea, at least, behind it. And yeah, let's thread that. And since it is a little bit easier without a water bottle in it, let's thread that through. Let me remind that that goes here. Everything is set up now, so it is a little bit more finicky to get everything through the loops, especially if you have the water bottle in. So I think I will do it before I put the water bottle in the bag, or whatever you will call this one. I mean, I think you will only do it once or twice, and I think for that it is fine. So if I need to get rid of the backpack when I take a break, so I just have to remove this one, I think, and secure it, that it will not lose anything. And then I'm fine and I can take it off easily. But yeah, I think that might be the annoying part about it. I have one more place here. If I notice while running that this is still too bouncy, I can easily put the other ribbon in. So this one will always be in my bag, easily accessible if I need a second of these straps. But yeah, I think other than that, it should be fine. And I mean, I can make a quick bounce test. So my neighbors will hate me, but I think, yeah, that should work. Yeah, I think I'm good to go. I will let you know while I'm running how this will work out, if it's working out. If it is, maybe too annoying with the water bottle, but yeah, that we will see. If it comes to the water bottle, I only, as I said, have around half a liter in this one, and I think I will bring both of them and check out if I need more water. Maybe on my long run I will run with this one in my side net, or actually in my backpack. And maybe on the shorter days I will bring this one as well. That I want to check out what I really need for running, because on my longer trip that I want to do, I definitely would like to have a second water bottle. Since half a liter, it's not enough, and in case of emergency, I rather have too much water than too little and carry a little bit more weight with me. But yeah, that I want to check out. I mean, I'm not running from hut to hut this time. This is a test run. I have a fixed place where I will stay. My partner will bring me to the starting point and fetch me at the end point every day. So I will have this with me in the house that we are staying in. But overall, I want to run with everything that I need for 4 days or 5 days, however long I want to do the next one. I mean, it doesn't really matter how many days you spend. I think you will not bring that much more. But yeah, that is my setup. I will check in with you once I'm done running, if I was fit enough to do the whole thing, and how that backpack basically hold up. So I hope I will have a lot of fun running in the Harz area. So yeah, my backpack works pretty well. The one thing that is missing is the snack pouch over here. The water bottle pouch, or the flask pouch, works quite good, but I think a flask that is made of plastic, so hard plastic, would be better than the silicone one. I will play around with that next time. I'm also running with a 1 liter water bottle, or isotonic drink, better to say. I thought it might be very annoying, but I have to say I enjoy it, and it's not really bothering me since it is secure in the side pocket.
Now
so,
keep right.
So left, right, I think there. So yeah, I know that for the next time that I can definitely have 1 liter of water with me. So yeah, I definitely can run with that bottle without annoyance. That's good. Yeah, I don't have all my stuff with me. I have a leggings, long sleeve, and a zipper jacket and some other bits and bobs here in the backpack. So it is still enough room for when I do my backpacking or fast packing adventure without anyone else. So I'm definitely looking forward also for that. I will do that later in the year, I think. I think it showed me that I am fit enough to do that. The only videos I have of the backpack are from Japan and one short one before we head home after the holiday in Harz. I didn't really film myself while running. As I said, I'm super happy with the backpack and I cannot wait to have more fast packing adventures with my trusty new companion. Thank you so much for following along this journey, and I hope I gave you some nice insights on how I make my backpacks. If you have any questions or comments, leave it in the comments down below, and I will see you in my next video. Happy crafting and take care. Bye bye.